Hi, grade 6. This is day 35, page 442, problems 3 through 23, the odds. Before we get started, please take a look at pages 440 and 441. Read through them carefully, and then come back to this video, and we'll do a bunch of example problems. Okay, you can pause now. Okay, there's going to be two types of problems that you're going to be having to work out. One involves finding the measure of a length that's unknown. That'll be the first type of problem we work on. And the second type of problem will be trying to figure out, are two shapes similar to each other? Okay, before we get started, what does that mean if shapes are similar? According to your textbook, similar shapes are shapes that aren't necessarily the same size, but their corresponding parts are in proportion to each other. On page 440, it says this about halfway down. Figures that have the same shape but not necessarily the same size are similar figures, and then they have a mini lab that describes that in the purple box. It says if two figures are similar, then the corresponding sides are proportional and the corresponding angles are congruent. So guess what? Did you hear that word proportional? That means to solve these problems, we are going to be creating proportions and we are going to be solving them. Okay, let's take a look at these two triangles. Let's assume they are similar triangles. They have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. And we want to figure out the measure of x. Well, here's how you do it. This 3, line segment AB, is corresponding to this 6 on line segment DE. This 4, line segment BC, is corresponding to this X, line segment EF. Now, based on what I just wrote there, here's the math problem I would use to solve this. I would write 3 is to 6 as 4 is to x. 3 is to 6 as 4 is to x. See how I wrote it there? And then we just solve simply for x. In this particular case, can you figure out what x is? Use cross products. 6 times 4 is 24. Divided by 3, x has to be 8 in problem 1, or whatever you want to call this. X has to be 8. Okay, let's move on to this next one. Again, let's assume that the triangles are similar. So x, this long side, has to be proportional to the 7. This is supposed to be a 9. This side that's 9, line segment NO, is proportional to this side that is 3, line segment QR. Based on that, I'm going to write x is to 7 as 9 is to r. X, nope, not r, excuse me, 3. X is to 7 as 9 is to 3. X is to 7 as 9 is to 3. Okay? And if I solve that, what do I get? How about 7 times 9? 63. 63 divided by 3 gives me x. And in this case, x would be a value of 21. Let's try this next one over. This time it's two four-sided objects. The 14 is corresponding to this x. Line segment AD and line segment EH are in the same location in each of these figures. And the 12 would be corresponding to the 18 because the line segment CD and line segment GH are in the same locations. So what kind of proportion would I be solving here? How about 14 is to x as 12 is to 18? 14 is to x as 12 is to 18. Okay, so how do I solve that? Let's use cross products. 14 times 18 has to be equal to 12 times x. What do I get here? I get 252. 252, and now we got to divide that by 12. 252 divided by 12 would give us an x value of 21 in this case. Our x value is 21. Let's go straight down to this problem underneath the previous one. My 2 side, line segment IH, corresponds with x over here, line segment LK. The 4, line segment GH, corresponds with the 12, line segment JK. So I'd write something like 2 over x equals 4 over 12. And if I solve that, I get an x value of 6, an x value of 6. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6. How about this next one? What appears to be two parallelograms. The 20 is corresponding to this 15. The x is corresponding to this 12 here. So 20 over 15 equals x over 12. I'm going to take 20 times 12, that's 240. 240 divided by 15, don't have a clue as to what 240 divided by 15 is. So let's work it out. I get 90. Ooh, like 6 times? Yeah, it is 6 times. So we've got 16. X is 16 in this particular case. X is 16. Okay. Last one on this board. My x is proportional to the 4, or corresponding to the 4. My 9 is corresponding to the 6. X over 4 equals 9 over 6. Multiply 4 times 9 is 36. Divided by 6 is 6. So my x value in this case has to be 6. Okay, so that's one type of problem. How do we figure out whether or not two shapes are similar if we're given some measurements, though? That's a different style of problem. But it's not totally different. We're still going to work with proportions. Let's say that I have this triangle and this triangle, triangle ABC and triangle DEF, and somebody says to me, are they similar triangles? How would I do that? Well, same method as before. Let's first of all take a look at the corresponding parts and label them. And let's also create a proportion. But now we have nothing to solve for, do we? Because we don't have any variables involved. But what we do need to do is we need to say to ourselves, is this fraction equal to this fraction? If these two fractions are equal to each other, then these two shapes are similar shapes. But if these two fractions are not equal to each other, then these two shapes are not similar. So let's see what happens. Let's take cross products. 9 times 14 and 18 times 7, and let's see what we get. This is 6, 3, 126, and this is 6, 5, 126. Hey, so yes, the answer to this problem, yes, these two shapes are similar. Figured out the corresponding parts, made them equal to each other, and checked to see if those fractions are equal. If they are equal, then the shapes are similar. Let's try with this one. 8 is corresponding to the 24. 15 is corresponding to the 40. So we've got 8 24ths and we got 15 40ths. Are those fractions equivalent? Well, cross products again. 8 times 40, is that equal to 24 times 15? This happens to be 320. This one I don't know, so I'm going to have to work it out. 2, 12, 0, 4, 2, 0, 6, 3. I get 360. Notice they're not equal. They are not equal to each other. Therefore, the answer to this problem is no. These two shapes, they look similar, but they're not similar because the corresponding ratios of the parts are not equal to each other. Okay, 6th graders, I hope this helps you work through your problems. If not, call me, 517-242-3138. Thank you and have a great day.